Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
The Daily Compliance News for March 6, 2025. Yes, it's Texas Independence Day, but this is the Rollercoaster Continues edition. And we begin with our first story that Donald Trump has delayed, or rather suspended, tariffs for the automobile industries for 30 days. He said it was allow car makers to escape tariffs imposed on all goods from Canada and Mexico. Of course, he had no reasoning for this, at least no logical reasoning, and it just demonstrates the complete chaos in the tariff scheme put out by the Trump administration. This was a one-day-old tariff, so go figure. Next up, we had another incredibly interesting article from PYMNTS.com. And this one is how back office leaders are selling the C-suite on risk and compliance. Why is this such an interesting article? Because this site typically looks at payments and the digital transformation of payments and financial services. But this article poses that with the regulatory and cyber risk landscapes becoming increasingly complex and financial crime tactics as well, that C-suite is recognizing compliance is not a cost center or bureaucratic necessity, but a critical enabler of growth, efficiency, and competitive advantage. At the center of this dilemma is the reality that risk and control are often perceived as necessary evils, and now they're learning they're not. Next up from the Grist, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, and it posits that corruption has infected the world's fight against climate change. Indeed, like a virus, bribery, theft, conflicts of interest, and other forms of corruption are hampering global efforts to fight climate change and protect the environment. A new study by Transparency International reveals that countries that experience high levels of corruption often bypass environmental laws to exploit natural resources to the detriment of not only the country, but to the climate. And our final story comes to us from the Wall Street Journal, the law section. Jacob Gershman and Ryan Barber reporting that Donald Trump in his speech to Congress said that Elon Musk was running DOGE. This is contradictory to what DOJ lawyers have been telling judges in court. So somebody is not telling the truth. Do you think it's Donald Trump, or do you think that DOJ lawyers are lying to judges? I'm sure these judges are going to be very interested to find out. I'm sure at some point Elon Musk will be called to testify, and then we'll see if he honors that judicial request. At the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up, or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.